a Pacifica club based full-time in Cairns, playing premiership games in Samoa, Tonga and Papua New Guinea.
Love it.
No, I think this can never work.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, our game is tribal. We see how much trouble we have with merged teams trying to work. And now we're going to have a club that represents, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 different nations. I mean, this can never work.
Why can't it work?
Well, it can't work
Can't with
because
that attitude, that's for sure.
Okay, so
you're so negative, man.
So hang on. So you got a team in Tonga, but it's based in Cairns, but it's also the team in PNG. It's also the team in Cairns. It's also in Tonga. It's also in Samoa.
But
it's ridiculous,
I think
mate.
for the game to have a Pacific side, I think they do it in the rugby union. They got one of those. I don't know what it's called, but for us to grow it, we need to expand in those areas. And the best thing for those teams, yeah, they're based in Cairns, but they're going to be taking games to Samoa, to Tonga. Look how good they are going on an international level.
It will never work.
Samoa
work.
versus Australia in the final. Tonga's beat Australia. They beat England. PNG have beat England. The game's growing. We want it to expand. What, do you want our game just to be Australia?
We already see, Woodsy, issues with your club trying to represent two areas that are only 50 kilometres apart. This is a thing that's going to represent four countries.
That's two previous clubs that have already been in the NRL.
So, okay,
These
so what
clubs
happens?
haven't been in there before. They're just nations.
So what if you're over there in Tonga? Oh, I can't wait for my team to come over here twice a year.
They would die to have. They'd die to have one game
Imagine
a
the
year.
kids. Imagine how the kids would-
Imagine Wade Graham. Imagine Kalen Ponga. Imagine Cameron Munster rocking up to Samoa, and all these kids who've only watched these blokes on TV get to get a first hand. Imagine the community work they'd do throughout the week with all these little towns in Samoa, Tonga. Mate, I've been to Papua New Guinea 5 times. It's one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Okay, then give them a team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Give them a team.
Don't give them a quarter of a team they've got to share with Samoa and.
But that's how we got to start it off.
Oh, mate.
Maybe the expansion will be a team in every Pacific Island.
You never know.
Well,
exactly.
Okay, then give them all a team, but you can't give them one team to share. Okay, all the lunatics on an NRL club board, all the factions. What's this going to be like?
Yeah,
some of them are in Samoa. Some of them are in bloody Papua New Guinea.
Why can't we show love everywhere? I've showed love to 4 clubs, mate.
Mate, I know you have. I know you have. You're a Cronulla great. We all know that. You played 6.5 games there.
I was there for 12 minutes.
Oh, that's right. That's where you, yeah.
I think I love expansion. I love the talk of expansion. I think, in those meetings and, long-term goals, I think we should always push the boundaries and always look to grow and have lofty aspirations. But you summed it up a little bit, right? It's all about the execution and who does it. That's what you need. Like, you need to make sure whoever's in charge of the expansion team, the administrators who run the actual club and the business of the club, you need to make sure they're properly vetted so it's financial.
Like Redcliffe have been.
Yeah, financially viable, and it's just not in and out, and it's not run poorly, right? Because if it's run poorly, well, it becomes a drain on the game, and it brings the other club. Then we're in trouble. So it all comes down to the execution. And I think, having Redcliffe come in this year, it's a great sort of inside rails run to have a look at, problems they face. They probably had 12 months to build a roster, was it? 18 months to build a roster?
I thought they needed longer.
So we've learned a lesson already, right?
Yeah.
If it's going to be an expansion team, they need minimum 2 years to put a roster together, right? And then you just keep looking at Redcliffe as they're going through things now. You're going to have a look at areas they struggle in or, hiccups they've come across, while they're putting together their first season. So, and you look at an experienced coach like Wayne Bennett, obviously the right man to do the job. He's started the season as good as you can start it. He's introduced, he's been able to, although there was talk around not being able to get a marquee player, they've managed to get a great forward pack with a lot of experience and unearth, that Katoa, the young kid who's playing, he's been brilliant in his first 2 games. So I think what you need to do is just make sure you get the right people in doing the right jobs with the expansion.
Well, let me ask you this then. Obviously, you're going to just disagree with me on this. Okay, you both are. Okay, let's just say, righto, we're going to have this club, Pacifica, that represents Samoa, Tonga, Papua New Guinea and plays out of Cairns. First of all, the Cowboys are going to say, hang on, you're playing out of Cairns. Secondly, could you...
South Sydney already play out of Cairns.
Could you imagine all these... Can you imagine them even trying to agree on a jumper or a name for different nations? With respect, this idea is beyond Burko.
But
it's
it depends
Buzzer.
if they come into it as the Bears, because I read the Bears are trying to do
I'll
something
get to
with
that.
them.
Yeah.
So they go with the red.
But this is the other
why
one.
Why do you make out like everything's such a big decision?
It's
so
because
hard?
it is, mate. Because rugby league's a tribal game. That's why when Shark Park is full, when Souths play Cronulla, that's why the Dolphins have got great support, and the Cowboys have got. You start trying to put. Now this is the other one. Norths.
Yep.
Norths want to come back into the comp, but whoever sticks their hand up and says we want to have a team. Mars could say we want to have a team in Mars. The Bears will go, okay, let's merge with Mars, but we want to play 4 games at North Sydney Oval. So you're in Perth trying to get a franchise.
I thought we're in Mars.
No, we'll say we're in Perth.
I thought we were
right?
in Cairns. Sorry.
Right? You're in Perth, okay? And the Bears want to franchise with you want to merge with you in Perth. So you're the Perth guy. You go, well, mate, why do I want to play 4 games at North Sydney Oval? The kids in Perth have never heard of the North Sydney Bears. If they want to be the Bears, let them be the Bears in Perth. The North Sydney Bears, as we know them in the NRL, it's over.
But we've already got teams that take games away. Like I think, did you take one to Coffs
Yeah, we
Harbour?
take one to Coffs,
Tigers take the Tamworth. I think they're taking a couple to New Zealand this year. Why
Right.
can't they take games to North Sydney?
Well, they can take one.
Especially if North Sydney are giving a percentage of what they own of the club.
Woodsy, I'm saying, okay, that's all good for if you're 57 years old like me and you watch the Bears play for 50 years. But you're in Perth. Oh, we're getting an NRL team. Okay, well, I'm sort of interested. But what, they're going to play 4 games in North Sydney? It's beggars belief.
You know what, Maroon? We need
nonsense.
you in the room with these administrators when they come out with
yes.
this, so you can just
He'll
point
only
out
come-
all
he'll-
the issues.
he'll only come
and
if
we'll
he gets
just
the
learn
quid
to
out
work
of it.
around
That's
it.
how he works.
We'll learn to work around
As
it.
long as you know that, and we're all here to make a quid, aren't we?